Imagine an immigrant family in which the parents have forgotten their native language, but the children have not. Strange? Well, what about the opposite? The children have lost their ability to speak their native language, but the parents have not. This one doesn't seem so strange. After moving from one country to another where the national language is different, over time, there is a decay in people's linguistic competence and performance. I'm interested in why children have a faster rate of language decay than adults. There's lots of reasons why this might happen. Institutions such as schools, contact with friends, and even the media play a large part in why the younger members of immigrant families lose their language. But the main factor I want to focus on is the internal factor. When I say internal factor, I mean an individual's attitude and opinions towards language decay, as well as the importance they give to maintaining their native language. My final question for this project was, does the internal factor affect the rate of language decay, and, in turn, how is the internal factor affected by age? I predicted that people who thought maintaining their native language wasn't important would lose their language at a faster rate than those who did think it was important. Furthermore, I predicted that adults would have a much more radical opinion on the topic than children. For my research, I interviewed 8 subjects, all Canadian immigrants from Colombia. 4 of them had come to Canada when they were children, and 4 arrived as adults. First, I asked them basic questions. How old were they when they came to Canada? How often did they speak Spanish? How much Spanish media, such as films, books, and music, were they exposed to? These questions allowed me to compare the subjects better so that I would be able to more accurately determine the effects of the internal factor. Then the subjects answered questions about their attitude towards language decay. I asked them how important they thought Spanish was in their lives and to scale the importance of maintaining their ability to speak Spanish on a scale of 1 to 10. Finally, I asked them to give their opinion on language decay in general. Then the participants were shown this picture and were asked to describe it in Spanish. The recordings were then sent to 2 native Spanish speakers still living in Colombia. The judges rated each speaker on their Spanish in fluidity, grammar, and pronunciation. Each category was rated on a scale from 1 to 10. Then I took the results and found each person's overall average to facilitate comparisons. The results I found turned out to be mixed. As I expected, all the adults thought that Spanish was incredibly important in their lives, and when asked to scale the importance of maintaining their Spanish, they all gave high ratings. 2 of them gave 10s, 1 gave an 8.5, and the other an 8. The children, however, were different. 2 of the children gave lower ratings, with 1 being a 5 and the other being a 7. The other 2 children, however, both gave an 8.5, around the same amount as adults. My hypothesis was confirmed by comparing Anastasia and Rosanna, who both arrived as children. Rosanna arrived to Canada at about 2 years old and Anastasia at 5. Now Rosanna is 18 and Anastasia is 22. Although their basic answers varied, they didn't have significant differences. Rosanna, however, rated the importance of Spanish as a 7. Anastasia gave it a 5. Despite Rosanna's younger age, she scored an 8.1, whereas Anastasia scored a 7.8. Maria and Art, who arrived as adults, both live and work together and gave the same answers to the basic questions I asked at the beginning. Maria is only 3 years younger than Art. Art, however, gave the importance of maintaining Spanish a 10, while Maria gave it an 8. In their ratings by judges, Art received a 9.3, while Maria got an 8.8. The results fluctuated, however, in respect to Juan and Gloria. They were the other 2 adults in the study, and work and live together, and so answered the same answers in their basic questions. Even though Juan rated his language as a 10 and Gloria an 8.5, their results were about the same. Juan received an 8.3 and Gloria received an 8.5 by the judges. It was more difficult to determine the effect of the other 2 children. Jorge arrived at 5 years old and is now 14, and Esteban arrived at 2 and is now 9. They both rated their language importance at an 8.5. Jorge received a 7.3, and Esteban received a 6.5 by judges. These results didn't match my hypothesis, but it must also be taken into account that they are still young, especially Esteban, and may continue to ameliorate as they grow older. Overall, my hypothesis remains unconfirmed. Although there were indicators that the internal factor does have effects on language decay, I would need to conduct more interviews in both age groups to create a more accurate result.